What's a culture of freedom? Some years ago, I had a friend that had homeschooler who moved to this state from another fairly free state. And she said to me, Tim, y'all talk a lot about freedom here. Well, for almost 40 years, the Texas Homeschool Coalition has been arguing that parents have a God-given, fundamental constitutional right to raise their kids as they see fit, including homeschooling them. And as we've been going through the pandemic, we've seen an explosion of parents who decide to homeschool. And the other exciting thing about that is what's happened in addition to that is many parents have become well aware of what their kids are learning in the school. And some of them have not been happy about that. As a result of that, we have seen a greater increase not only of homeschool families, we've seen a number of families who are becoming aware and becoming active in their school district. We saw last year in Virginia governor's race, the Virginia Republican nominee for governor argued that parents, rather than schools, should be deciding what their kids are learning. And of course, a huge number of parents totally agree with that. So we've seen this explosion not only of homeschooling, we've seen an explosion of parents who are saying, I want to have a say in what my kids are learning in the schools. And so as a result of that, we are seeing an increase in the number of parents who are wanting to be involved and have freedom for deciding what their kids are learning. So I've also been interested, as I've been watching that, to see, or perhaps you followed what's happened in Canada with the Freedom Convoy. And that whole discussion there of, should people be involved? And I followed on the Heritage Foundation daily podcast an interview with a woman who is the head of the Constitution Foundation, the Canadian Constitution Foundation, and she is suing the federal government in Canada over this, what she believes is illegal and unconstitutional erosion of freedom or attack against freedom to shut down the Freedom Trucker Convoy. And she made some interesting comments that I thought that related to this whole culture of freedom that we have in America, at least in some states, and particularly in Texas. And this woman said that she had spent a good deal of time in Texas. She's from Toronto, Canada. And she said Toronto had the worst lockdowns in the world. Their restaurants were locked down for 325 days. And she said, I was in Texas, which was the exact opposite of that. So the interesting is she described the culture in Texas and the culture in Canada. She said that in America we have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness or property. And that comes directly from the Declaration of Independence. And she said in Canada, their approach is peace, good government, and safety. And she argued that there was not an expectation among most Canadians to have a freedom from the draconian oversight of government, of this idea of government taking away our freedoms. And she said that was a huge difference. And I would submit to you that that is a result of a culture of freedom. In America, and especially in Texas, we have an expectation that the government will not be taking away our freedom. For almost 40 years, the Texas Homeschool Coalition has fought in the courts and the legislature to prevent or challenge or change the laws that restrict or take away the fundamental God-given right of families and parents to raise their kids as they see fit. And this whole thing in Canada made me realize this is not a culture that is in place every place. It's a culture that we have continued to fight for almost 40 years. And I want to thank you as supporters of the Texas Homeschool Coalition and families all over Texas who agree with us that parents have a God-given, fundamental constitutional right to raise their children as they see fit. And what we saw in Canada, and we've seen in other places, makes us realize that that is not a culture that survives every place. And It's a culture that has to be fought for and defended. And I thank you for helping us, supporters of the Texas Homeschool Coalition, for fighting for that culture of freedom and helping us keep Texas families free. If you believe, as we do, that parents have a God-given right to raise their children as they see fit, then I hope you'll share this video. I hope you'll subscribe to our channel and share this with other people. And thank you for helping us keep Texas families free.